Good evening, Antipodean chums, heathen colonials, and anybody else who's probably not in the UK due to the time of day. How's it going? Antipodean bastards. I've never actually really learned the meaning of Antipodean. What does it mean literally? Alzane, how you doing? Fucking hell, what you still doing up? What is it? Oh, it's not that late. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, that's pretty late. And you, Tom, fucking hell, you guys not sleep? I'm trying to do a bit of a USA-based news feed on an evening when I can be bothered, because there's a lot more going on in America, isn't there? The UK, I'm a lot more trammelled by the news feed, because Britain being Britain, you know, it's not as wild and zany, is it? The local newspaper in places like York, it's like mother loses 12 pounds, and in LA, it's Bloods and Crips, flamethrower death bout, burns orphanage down or something. It's only 3 a.m. You must work nights, Lorne. Mark, saying how you doing? So yeah, the Americans have a much more interesting news cycle. I think American politics is better as well, isn't it? American politics is always like interesting shit. Oh my God, Nick Yak's in as well. None of you people sleep. It's not very healthy to go to bed after about midnight, is it? I remember reading it on a scientific paper somewhere. Maybe it was in the Lancet or something. I was perusing to find out coronavirus details. But they were saying how, I think if you go, the golden time to go to bed is, I think, before 11, and then get up at like 7 or something. Not good for your brain to go to bed after midnight. Anyway, Sloth Bear, Itchy, Alex, everybody else, Tom, and Al, maniacs across the pond who are still up. Everyone's unemployed or pretending to be useful. Yeah. UK politics has no passion. That's what I'm getting at. American politics has always been more interesting than British politics. And I've talked about this before, you know, at least in the United States, we've still got a clear differential. You know, ultimately, you can't talk about it, can you? You can't dispute the dull sameness. Let me get my mic a bit closer. You can't dispute how dull and samey British politics is. Woke Boris Johnson and Keir Starmer, you can just fit a Rizzler paper between them. They're not that different. They're very, very similar, evidenced by the fact that the opposition didn't do any opposing throughout the 2 years pandemic. There's the word. Antipodes is the point on the planet on the other side of the world you're starting from. There you go. So we call them Antipodean cunts. Is it correct for an Australian to call a Brit an Antipodean if they're born and raised in Australia? I'm assuming it does, eh? Listen, from New Zealand, ex-Scouser. You're never an ex-Scouser. As long as you have the irrational urge to thieve, you will always be a Scouser, no matter where in the world you are. Alf said, working shift screwed him, then ill health, then whiskey, then listening to me. Yeah, that's the unholy quadrum V8. Quadrum V8. I don't even know if that's a word. I was going to say the unholy trinity, but there was 4 points to that. It screwed up my metaphor. Yeah, Boris, Keir, and Mr. Ed. There's a Rizzler paper between them all. There's no difference. So American politics is far more interesting, because love them or hate them, there's quite a big difference between someone like Bernie Sanders and someone like Donald Trump. A very significant one. You have a clear bifurcation there. You've got a right and you've got a left. And that doesn't really exist in England, despite the name conservative. They aren't fucking conservative. So Sloth Bear disagrees. Establishment politicians, be they Republican or Democrat, are very much the same. They play up the differences to keep their bases engaged. I don't know. Maybe if you take a sort of milk toast handful from across the aisle, but there's significant differences between someone like Trump and somebody like fucking hell, anyone in the squad, for example. There's real conservatives in America. What have we got in Britain? One fucking Mog. Probably only the old school conservative left. You're watching Tim Pool, but I'd rather watch you. Yeah, I don't like Tim Pool. I think Tim Pool's a bit of a milquetoast fucking fence sitter. He does my head in. Again, no, once you get that big, you've got to watch what you're doing, haven't you? Because the stand to lose millions of dollars. Me, being a borough lad, I'm used to being skint and I'll always be skint, and I've never done it for money. So fuck them. That's why I prefer it. You can get away with whatever you like. And I can say whatever I want and don't care. And use Pim Tool. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Tim Pool. I don't subscribe to him anyway. I've seen him a few times on around the bazaars, and I subscribed to him for a little bit, and after I spent about half an hour listening to him, I was like, actually, I don't really like this bloke. Again, I mean, I don't dislike him. Politically, he's all right. But, yeah, don't like his attitude. Same with Stephen Crowder. I like Salty Cracker. I think he's actually funny. Stephen Crowder, I don't. I think Stephen Crowder thinks he's a lot funnier than he actually is. Salty Cracker is funny, but Stephen Crowder's just loud. Not my cup of tea either. Anyway, should we do some news? Shall I talk you through some news? I want to talk about this because I think this is a good story to talk about, because I was discussing this on the weekend when I was in Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara has massively gone to shit in the last 10 years. It's changed visibly from when I first met my missus and we used to hang out down there. And I was talking to the barman in one of these bars that we went in. I was saying to him, place has got rough, mate. I was like, you never used to see gangs of fucking tramps milling around in the street. And now there's homeless people everywhere. There's businesses that have closed down that, were popular and we used to frequent. And they've shut them. And tramps have moved in. Again, I mentioned it last night. Adding insult to injury, the tramps have moved into the prime real estate. So you got to get a cup of coffee from a coffee shop that you used to frequent, or a cup of tea. And when you get there, the coffee shop's closed and there's an old black homeless man having a shit up against the wall. It's not a nice thing to see. And that was one of the most pleasant places in the country, Santa Barbara. It was well posh, proper nice, mega low crime, beautiful weather, no litter. It was fucking sound. And now it's a bit of a dump. And I was telling him it's a quality of life issue. Non-partisan, that is a quality of life issue. It's a really big one. If you are walking down the street and you're getting harassed by mentally ill homeless people, it's a quality of life issue. And it doesn't so much bother someone like me as a grown man. I think I've told you guys a story when one of them accused me of being homosexual. I went for a run in LA. And as I was cooling off on a street corner, I'm walking home, brisk walk, stretching a little bit. Gets to like a tent. It's a fucking old black dude in a tent, and he rolls out and went, I'm not homosexual, man. And I was like, I'm fucking cooling down, mate. I don't want to bum you. It was, it was pretty mad. And it doesn't bother me because I'm a grown man. But if you were like a young lass and you were minding your own business, walking home from school, and a fucking mentally ill homeless man did a commando roll out of his tent, started talking about bumming you, I think that'd alarm you. These things are a real quality of life issue. Harassing women and kids when you're trying to walk the dog or just walking to a place of meeting, walking to school, that is a quality of life issue. Right or left. The woke might talk about how much they love having homeless people. Oh, yeah, everyone deserves. But when you see them massive homeless encampments with dozens of scary, crusty, smelly, prone to masturbating in public, dirty old homeless men, that is a real quality of life issue. The shit and piss in the street, it stinks when you walk past. They do drugs. There's needles around. There was that famous case of the homeless man shooting the woman, Kate Stanley, in the head in San Francisco. And then you've got this story today. So it is a non-partisan, genuine issue. A lot of stuff, we talk it up because we're getting angry and we're being political. But that's a quality of life issue. If you're actually getting made to feel uncomfortable, upset, angry, scared, that's not a right versus left thing. That affects everyone. You can be as woke as you like, but when a fucking old tramp starts pulling himself up in front of you while you're walking the dog, doesn't matter how woke you are. That's not a nice, pleasant thing to see. And yeah, Kate Stanley was shocking. The man who killed Kate Stanley got off because Donald Trump said some politically incorrect things around the time of the trial. Like, just think on that. Blatantly killed a woman, ended a young woman's life, and because Donald Trump said a few un-PC things about Mexicans, they let him off. Just went, let him off. Who cares? Killed a young woman. It's disgraceful. So look at this. This is today. Updated 6:39. It says a woman is dead after she was attacked while waiting for a bus in downtown last week, according to the Los Angeles Police Department. The victim was a long-time nurse who worked tirelessly and selflessly, according to her employer. Police say they responded Thursday around 5:15 a.m. to a call of an assault at a bus stop near Union Station. Union Station used to always go there, right in the middle of the bed, downtown LA. Upon arrival, officers discovered that the suspect, later identified as Kerry Bell, had struck the victim in the face, causing her to fall to the ground and sustain a fractured skull. Police and the Met Transport Authority released photos of the suspect to officers, and 90 minutes later, they found him homeless, asleep near the scene. They said the attack was without provocation and for no reason. Yeah, because it's mentally ill, homeless fuckers. If they're going to roll out the tent and accuse me of trying to bomb them, they can be prone to just throwing punches at random. They're mental. I seen one trying to fly. There was one who was flapping his arms, stood on a street corner going, they just ramble, twisting his ears, going, he's fucking waving his arms about, and he was going, I can't fly, I'm too heavy. Trying to fucking flap like he was a fucking bird, like Icarus if he was really thick and didn't bother with the wings. Bell's taken into custody. It's not clear if he has legal representation. Oh yeah, because old shit-covered homeless men have always got the fucking lawyer in tow, haven't they? Like Danger Mouse and Penfold. He's always there, one step behind. Fucking maniacs. LA County officers were closed Monday due to MLK Day. The victim, Sandra Shells, was taken to a hospital and died of her injuries Sunday. Fucking shocking. You know what I mean? So this is what I was talking about on the weekend. Talking about this being a quality of life issue. And some poor fucking woman has just lost her life. Because woke fucking lefty governors and politicians don't do anything about this problem because they don't want to seem to upset the base. If they go, you know what, I'm pretty sick of intimidating sweaty old tramps picking on people when they're walking through the streets. It's fucking shocking. They do need to be getting help, Maggie, but again, it's not a small problem if you've got people getting assaulted for no reason, and it's frequent, and it is frequent. Good old Penfold. He's a good lad, Penfold. That was back in the day when kids' cartoons were amusing and had references for grown-ups. 70-year-old Sandra Shell killed by a black woman. These politicians have blood on their hands. Yeah, indeed they do. Because they're playing politics with people's lives. They think it helps their electability, so they do nothing. And they know there's going to be tragedies. You could just have to look at the numbers. You'd be like, every week in LA, a couple of hundred people get assaulted by homeless people. I guarantee it. There's these massive encampments of manky old tramps, mentally ill, danger to themselves, danger to the public, manky old tramps, and people like Gavin Newscombe do nothing about it. Chris Collin, how you doing? You're up late as well, you fucking lunatic, or early, depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on. So yeah, flying hobo Icarus and random homosexual or homophobic, was he? I don't know. Black man accusing me of trying to bomb him. It's a quality of life issue, and I firmly believe in that. I think it's a bipartisan issue, and it needs fucking sorting. What other US news did I want to talk about tonight? Oh yeah, here's one. Now in the UK, we've got this fucking shambolic COVID response. Has basically just involved the state throwing billions of pounds away. I believe I covered it on my BBC Spews a few weeks ago with regards to these sort of pump and dump scams where people say they've set up a small business and they can get tens and thousands of pounds from government grants. And then you're seeing pictures of these guys on the BBC and they're just there with massive piles of cash and the business didn't exist at all because the state's completely incompetent. And we knew they were going to be incompetent. And that's why conservative people don't believe in having a big state, because they're incompetent and the money just gets fucking sent. At its worst, it's not just wasted, it's sent to terrorist organizations. We actually, our taxpayers, we pay for our own demise. We pay to strengthen and empower our enemies. That's what happens. It's not hyperbole to say it. I mean, we laugh about the ones like, oh yeah, we funded the Nigerian Spice Girls. We send money to our enemies. That's how incompetent they are, because they're clever. They wage what's called economic jihad. They're clever, and they know that there's ways they can steal our cash from us. It's in like the Al-Qaeda training manual. They tell them how to wage economic warfare against us. So a lot of these things, when they're applying for grants or aid, it's going to the jihadis. Our taxpayers are toiling away to fucking arm our enemies. That's how bad we are in the worst case scenario. And look at this example on AOL News from USA Today as well. But that's pay-per-view USA Today. How a wedding photographer and a donut shop owner got millions in a COVID testing operation. Again, I mean, fucking fair play to them for being switched on enough to scam everyone. But it's ridiculous. And a blind man could have saw it coming. Look at this. Chicago. First it was a Toyota pickup, then a sky blue Lamborghini. Then at the end of August last year, Illinois resident Akbar Ali Syed posted a TikTok video of a red Lamborghini Countach being unloaded from a flatbed truck. Countach added to my collection, Syed wrote in a caption. Oil money, a user asked. No, Syed responded. COVID money. Questions swirl around more than the cars and Syed's new $1.36 million mansion. The inquiries are focused on a nationwide chain of coronavirus testing sites known as the Centre for COVID Control, under scrutiny by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Oregon Department of Justice, and multiple state health departments. Test takers at the company's 300 locations across the USA have reported the sites to state and local authorities, saying they received delayed test results, no results at all, or multiple conflicting results, among other concerns. So entrepreneurs have just been fucking, he was like a failed donut shop operator. They've been renting out a small business space, advertising it as a COVID test centre, getting millions in federal money. And then people have been going in and like, spitting in a tube and they're going, yeah, she said, whoosh, in the fucking bin. Oh yeah, negative. Winning. No checks and balances. Because the state's useless. Fucking hell, they're most definitely not useful. And cumbersome and incompetent and slow and unwieldy. And nefarious individuals aren't. And that's what we always tell communists. You're not going to be able to just get all the money off rich people because they'll outmaneuver you. The state starts going, we're going to take all your money. They're all off to fucking Monaco. And as I always say about people like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, what do they play effective tax rates? Like 10%? Well, 10% of $10 billion is a lot more money than you'd get under socialism. Do you know why? Because under capitalism, yeah, the middle class bears the biggest burden. Fair enough. Elon Musk probably should be paying a bit more tax, but 10% of 10 billion is a lot of money. You know what percentage you get under socialism when all of the billionaires fuck off to Monaco or the Cayman Islands? You know what percentage of the wealth you get then? Fucking zero. 10% of a few billion is a lot more than fucking 0%. You silly left-wing twats. So there you go. It's sort of, again, it is so fucking obvious a child can see it. It says the Centre for Medicare Services documented numerous deficiencies. Look at this. At the company's main lab, Doctor's Clinical Lab. Fucking hell. It's like, I bet he can barely speak English. Doctor's Clinical Lab. Which has been reimbursed more than $124 million from the federal government's COVID-19 program. Doctor's Clinical Lab. At its peak, the company said it collected 80,000 tests per day, and the federal government was reimbursing them at a rate of $100 per test. So 80,000 tests a day, and the federal government's giving him $100 per test. Think of that. 80,000. So what? 80,000. If he was getting $10 per test, 800 grand. If he's getting 100, 8 million fucking fat ones a day. It was not immediately clear how much the lab billed private insurance companies. Fucking hell, it is going to be astronomical. How much about the company remains unclear. One thing is certain. Long-time entrepreneur Syed, 35, and his wife, Alaya Siaji, 29, no medical experience or any fucking thing at all, had until recent days been unabashed on social media about their growing wealth. Unfucking believable. The Illinois-based Centre for COVID Control cropped up in 2020 to fill it. The bloke ran a donut shop. The bloke ran a donut shop. They didn't even ask to see a fucking GCSE. Absolutely unbelievable. And if this is the one we know about, how many thousands don't we know about? Think on that. Think how much taxpayers' money we've sent to failed donut shop scammers like Syed, the fucking semi-literate entrepreneur. It should fucking turn your stomach. What are we going to work for? What we're going to work for? Unbelievable. Exactly the same in the UK. Billions and billions are getting scammed off us. Gordon Ramsay's son's a bootneck. Yes, he is, yeah. Yeah, I believe he passed out last year. So, yeah, well done to him. I think he was in the troop with a lad who drowned recently as well. So I was told that by someone who's a Limson. Anyways, to be honest, I'm a bit low energy doing these twice a day. It's hard work talking complete shit for hours at a time. I don't know how the professionals do it. Probably because they get paid large sums of money to force themselves to do it. But there's two stories. I'm going to try and do a couple of news stories at least 2 or 3 days a week from the United States, because I do think American politics is more interesting than British. Virginia's got a new governor. He's kicking ass already. I didn't know that. Pelosi is a demented harridan. I did know that. So, yeah, I'm not completely out of the loop. Right, fellow Americans, Aussies, and insomniac maniacs from across the pond. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be on at 7 p.m. UK tomorrow, because I always do my 11 o'clock stream. And, yeah, if I can be bothered, I'll do this tomorrow or Wednesday. See if I can dig up some more good American stories, because I do love American politics. It's definitely more interesting than ours. Our dull, tepid, left-leaning fucking, we agree on everything. The opposition. If the fucking opposition agrees with absolutely everything you say, and the only thing they say is, let's do exactly what the you guys are doing, except a bit more aggressively, that's not an opposition. That's agreeing on everything, and it's boring as fuck. So, yeah. This is off topic. Do you think you should have a Union Jack half in the US flag? Oh, yeah, that is a good point. That is a good point. If I can be asked, I'll make another logo with an American flag on it for my American stream. That's a good off-topic point. Miss Richie, thanks for that. Miff Matlow needs some sleep. Get yourself to bed. And Bass Kludwick, thank you for the honest rank. Always honest. I cannot tell a lie. I cannot stop swearing. And I cannot tell a lie. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Have a good fucking night. God bless America. Cheers, Maggie. See you all later on. Take it easy.